Welcome to CDC Growthonomics. Today, I'm starting a micro series on Mythbusters. Today's topic is on exploring data to find the hidden treasure. So many times we hear from our clients, mostly startup clients, they have had, let's say this is a fintech client, and they have in their data lake somewhere in S3 or some data lake, there is transcript data. This fintech client has data from 5 years of all transactional data, attempted, declined, whatever else. It's all sitting in here in transcripts, all sorts of information on that transaction, the sessions, all of that is in here, which gateways, all the details for that transaction attempt is sitting in this treasure trove, in this data lake. And people often think, well, this is a treasure trove of data. There must be some value on it. So in order to find these value, the hidden treasure, let's explore this data. They often come to us and say, hey, can you put maybe two data scientists and one data engineer on it? Obviously, we need to get this in a format in what we call files or rows and columns, or some ways in which this data can be processed. And can you figure out where there might be some hidden treasures in this data? Let me ask you, do you think this way of there are hidden treasures, we believe there are hidden treasures in this data, this way of let's go explore that data will work? What will happen is as they begin exploring data, they will find data issues and discrepancies. There are, for example, this is transaction data, so there is payment success. Payment success from here is probably not what is not matching with what is coming from our payment. The other, like maybe there's a EDW, maybe there is billing data somewhere sitting in SAP ERP somewhere, and that's not matching. Or why is this data having 95% empty? Or why is this data, which is supposed to be filled with gateway information, is actually 40% empty, and so on. In this treasure petabytes of data, there will be all sorts of, and typically the resultant, what will happen is, 6 months down the line, there's a lot of these micro insights. This is empty. This should not matching up. This is not reconciling. That may be found, a lot of insights. But do you really feel like this would produce hidden treasures? Not very likely. One thing is it's going to take really long time to explore, even with your 3-people team. The other thing that will happen is that there may be some great insights that are produced from it, but those insights to actions and dollars is almost going to not exist here. And the third thing which will happen is the ROI is going to be non-existent, because if this is one of our clients, the CEO is going to ask us, hey, you have 3 people, they've been on it for 6 months. 6 times 3. What value have they generated? And by that time, it'll be too late. And this is the same question, even if you're an internal team. If you are an internal head of data who has decided to put 3 people on this, exploring this data to find hidden treasures, you might end up in the same soup with the CEO or with the stakeholders saying, where is my ROI? Because yes, you have found these insights. I knew this already. I knew that this data is dirty. I knew that, hey, I'm not sure why the 40% is not matching. You'll get lots of these micro insights potentially, but the likelihood of you really finding hidden treasure is not very high. Maybe if you spend months and months and months and months on it, potentially you might tee up something of importance. So the myth number 1, this approach of exploring data to find hidden treasure does not work. Does that mean you leave this treasure trove of data alone? Just let it be? No, it doesn't mean that. So going back to our, this is from it's a real client in fintech, and this is the CEO's question. Hey, we have this transaction log files, transcript data. Can you put one of your analysts and the data scientist on it, and potentially a data engineer on it, and find some value? And my question to them is, to what end? what is the use case that we are solving for. Why is that? Because then I can use this use case as a way of focusing my attention to direct the effort of finding treasures from it. So that's just a question we asked. What is the use case that you're looking for? And the answer was like, maybe potentially with all this transaction data, can we actually predict fraud? Then that can be monetized as a fraud alert system. Or another use case which emerges, can we figure out a better transaction routing mechanism that basically increases our success rate? These are great focusers. These are now going into this treasure trove of data with a use case, which not only just use cases from, let's say we look into fraud. Our next question will be, what are your hypotheses? What are your beliefs what are your beliefs about the data that exists that may predict fraud? And with these focusing mechanism, we don't need to solve for the entire data set. We are just going to focus our attention on this small subset of data, which is about fraud with these use cases. And we only need to clean up this set of data and process this. So one result of this that will happen is, one is we are going to find insights and dollars fraud prediction quickly, or we are going to fail fast as well. Either we'll find some insights or we'll fail, but whatever will happen, it'll happen fast. So less resources, you'll find fast. The other thing which will happen because you're using this approach is that you don't have to boil the rest of the ocean. You'll not be spending time like, why is this not matching up? Why is this not matching with another system? Why is this half empty? And so on and so forth. You will just focus your attention on a subset of data. The other most meaningful thing which will happen from this is, as it relates to data science, is feature engineering. Because you're going to use this directed approach, you're going to create complex features from your hypotheses, which then can be used to do further mining of this data. And believe me, in my experience, 50 to 60% of these feature sets, especially in prediction, in data science, machine learning, 60% of value comes from these complex features, which comes from these well thought through hypotheses. So not only will you potentially get some dollars, but you will get much higher accuracy for your projects, for your data science and so on, because you are going with complex feature engineering, which is business in focused. That doesn't mean you leave the rest of the data out, right? You basically found a small set of data and you quickly garnered value out of it. Let's say you produce $1 million to $2 million. Now you have more resources to go find another use case and another use case. And that is how we recommend you find a way to monetize the data. So the monetization of your untouched data should not happen by exploring the data. It should be very much, what's the use case, and create a hypothesis-driven plan to then go explore the data, and you'll find the biggest value in that. Hope this was useful. I'll meet you next time with another Mythbuster.